Why should you work on your credit? You get to borrow more money, better mortgages, better car loans, better regular loans, and higher credit card limits. Also, you get better rates, which means you pay less in total and your monthly payments are going to be less. With that being said, why would you listen to me? Well, let me tell you my story with credit. I was working this job. They let go half of the people. I ended up being one of them. With being cut from my job, I had 2 cards. I missed 2 payments on both of those cards. 4 missed payments total. A couple months later, I got a new job, got back up on my feet, said I'm gonna lock in, make sure this never happens again. I started building my credit. I went from 500s to 700s in a year. Well, with that being said, I have a little bit of knowledge. Do your own research, test it out yourself. But I'm trying to give someone some type of value who didn't have the knowledge just like I didn't have. All right, now that we got that out the way, let's talk about what do they look at for credit. As you can see here, inquiries, credit age, mix of credit, my favorite, utilization, and on-time payments. So inquiries, let's start there. They got 2 types of inquiries, soft inquiry, hard inquiry. You might see a soft pull, hard pull. What they're going to be checking here is, are you sending a bunch of inquiries out? Are you trying to get money from this place? Are you trying to get money from this place? Did you just apply for a loan here? Why do you need another loan? They're going to be checking stuff like that. With applying for new credit cards and inquiries, it usually only changes your score about 5-10 points. It's going to take it down. But it really only affects your score for about 3 months. Then you can see your score start going back up based off that. The inquiry only really affects it for 3 months. Next, we got credit age. This one is literally what it sounds like. They're just going to see how long you've had credit. If you have a loan and paid it off though, it's not going to count that anymore. What they're going to be looking at is active credit. See, if you had this card for 10 years with this bank, they're going to see you have a good relationship. They didn't shut your account down, so you make on-time payments. Basically, they're going to see how long you've had credit just to show a little maturity with it, so that you know what you're doing. So I recommend, if you're not 18, the day you turn 18, apply for your reverse credit card. If you do not have the money to pay it, just let it sit and just build that credit age, which is going to boost your credit in the long run. Or if you're older than 18 and you don't have no credit, I recommend you at least have a card. I'm not saying use it if you don't have the money, but if you have the money, make sure you're paying it. But we're going to get to that one. Next, they're going to be checking your mix of credit. What type of credit do you have? Do you have loans, mortgage, car payment, credit cards? They're just going to check, make sure you know how to handle multiple types of credit. They want to make sure you have a decent amount of credit, like credit accounts. But once again, I feel like this one is not as important. Next one, we have my favorite. So the next one we have is utilization. And what utilization is, basically how much of your credit are you using? So let's say you have a card that's $2,000, right? You max out that card, you're using 100% of your utilization. With utilization, you want to keep it low. They say keep it below 10%, but sometimes it's not hard, especially like even when I started, they didn't, like, my limits were not that high. So for me to keep it under 10%, I'd be like, it was almost impossible to do. But I didn't really see utilization really affecting my score until I was in about the 600 to 650. So if you're trying to get to the 700s, I recommend checking your utilization, making sure it's low, keeping it low, try keeping it lower. But I also got some tips right here to help with your utilization. My first tip is, if you had a card for 6 months, they'll either automatically raise your limits, or you can ask them to raise your limits. They probably will. If you've had the card for 6 months, you're doing everything you're supposed to with it, they're most likely going to raise your limit. Another way you could raise your limit, which is personally what I did and honestly helped me a lot, my favorite way, just be careful with it because it is kind of more to handle, putting on your plate. You can apply for more cards. Okay, so let's say you got this card that has $200. This card that got $300. This card that got $500. So you had that $2,000 card, right? That's maxed out. You just added another $1,000 from all of those cards. 200, 300, that's 500, plus 500, 1,000. So you got 2,000 plus this 1,000. Now you got 3,000. Let me do this just for easier math. You get another card, 1,000. 2,000. And then you had that $1,000 card. You got another card for 1,000. You maxed out this $2,000 card, right? But you just got two more 1,000. Your utilization just went from 2,000 to 4,000. What that means is you just cut your utilization in half. Half the utilization and you get more money. That's a win-win to me. But just be careful with that. Having more cards and more money is more of a responsibility. And credit is something you do not want to play with. So I would just be careful with that. But hey, man. And now we have one of the most important ones. That's why I put it last. The one you don't really want to do is make them payments. On-time payments. Make sure you are paying every month. If you can't do the full payment, which is what I recommend, don't spend it if you don't got it. But to each his own. Make sure you are at least paying your minimum payment every month. Make sure you are at least paying that minimum payment. But the thing about paying on time, the full amount every month, is you have no interest. If you have money sent over from the month before and the month before, you are going to keep paying interest on that, just so you know. Make sure you do not miss a payment. Missed payments do not go off your credit history for the next 7 years. No matter if you close the account, your credit history is going to stay on there for 7 years. And that's all for my little introduction to credit for y'all. I hope someone gained some type of value with it. Don't play with your credit. It's not something to play with, but it can be very valuable too. That's why I wanted to make sure I brought some value to you guys. That's what this whole channel is about, bringing value. I hope this can benefit someone in some type of way. Either help them rebuild their credit, fix their credit, or just grow it. If you're new to credit and you're learning this, props to you. Like, don't mess it up. It's not something to play with. If you learn something new, put it in the comments. If you got any credit tips, put it in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10 subscribers. That's my next goal now. So y'all are going crazy. That's why I dropped 2 videos today. Shout out to y'all. I'm out. I hope y'all have a blessed rest of your day and stay blessed. Like, I don't know what to tell you, big fella. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope everything happens phenomenal. I hope you get your credit to the 850. Get that perfect credit score. We out.